So we've introduced the Kree now. What are we going to go with next? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Season 2, Episode 6 of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. So yeah, last time we had Kid Kree introduced, and I'm very interested to see where this goes, if he's going to return at all, or if that's going to kind of be a one-off thing for now. I have to assume he's going to return, right? But now what do we do? Because all of this so far has been pretty episodic outside of kind of like recurring feelings about things and certain elements regarding just how Lunella's dealing with some pretty heavy things. And I'm wondering, okay, we got all of that, but where's the story going to go from here? It's going to be interesting to see what they do with, possibly eventually telling the rest of the family. That's going to be a big deal, I feel. But how is it going to happen? That's the big question. I still am not sure about that. I guess the only way to really find out, though, is to just get this going. I don't really have much else to say, so why waste any time? Let's just start the reaction. So when the screen fades to black, pause as redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I looked up Ephraim Sykes, the actor who played Bobby in this, and he seems to mostly be known for Broadway stuff. And the only thing I would really know him for is Hamilton. In the original Broadway cast of Hamilton, he played George Eaker, who was the guy who, during a duel, fatally shot Hamilton's son, Philip. He had a small role in it, but yeah, he was still in it. And he's been in other things too. Apparently, he was in the ensemble for Little Mermaid, and he was Benjamin Coffin III in Rent, stuff like that. But yeah, I don't really know him from other stuff per se. But it's still interesting to see. It's still interesting to see they got just a notable enough, I guess, Broadway actor. Now, this was an interesting episode. It touched on the idea of trends and trying to live up to trends and how that can take over your life. I mentioned in the reaction that I've never been a trend follower myself. I tend to just go with whatever I want to go with. In terms of clothing, I usually wear just stuff that's comfortable to me. In terms of music, I listen to whatever sounds good to me. I watch whatever movies interest me. Play the games on the consoles that interest me. I usually don't follow trends because a lot of times I just am not into the stuff that's trending. Whether it be music, movies, games, fashion, etc. It's usually just not my interests. And I'm not just going to follow it just because it's trendy. I'm not going to take part in it just because it's trendy, especially when a lot of it can be expensive. For example, I'm going to be getting a PS5 in the semi-near future, whenever it ends up being. Right? And many people have gotten PS5s by now. In fact, there was apparently, it was revealed that the PS5 is halfway through its lifespan, I guess you could say. According to what Sony has said, I believe. So it's we're getting closer and closer to the PS6 coming eventually. And it's like, I'm just going to be getting this. And it's because I couldn't afford it before, because video game consoles are expensive. And I've been saving up as it is just to get this. But yeah, so with all that kind of stuff, I don't tend to typically follow it. So it's always interesting to me to watch these shows and movies and stuff where that is used as a plot point. Because I'm watching this and like seeing all these different trends that Bobby like creates, and how all of these kids are following them, because it's cool, it's what's hip right now, and they want to stick with that. And seeing them all get into that, I'm just watching them like, I don't get it. Because I've never been that kind of person. Also, I kind of wonder, how are they affording all of this stuff? Because it's like the shoes were already said to be very expensive, and yet all of these kids in the school have them. It's like, I can understand a lot of them having them, even if you want to like have like a group of popular kids having them and everything. But everyone having them, these really expensive shoes, it's like, is everyone in this school like rich, or at the very least well off? Like, there's no one else there besides Lunella who's like not from a rich family. Like, and then every other trend that comes in as well, including like the gold bling and everything. It's like, how are they all affording all of this? Like, what is happening here? And like, Lunella and Casey were getting theirs outside of the shoes, which Casey got normally, but everything else of theirs came from Wishtar. Well, beyond her, I should specify. So it's like, it's really interesting that all of these kids just somehow are able to get all of this just to follow these trends. And I understand that it's mostly to just, push forward the idea of this episode, and like showcase that Lunella feels left out because quote unquote everyone around her is taking part in these trends, and she wants to be part of them too, because she feels like she'll not fit in otherwise, which is a very realistic idea, something very genuinely believable. But at the same time, it's like, you could have at least had some others that weren't able to get it, would have made it feel a little more just genuine that way. But the other big part of this episode centered around Beyonder, genuinely trying to gain Lunella's trust and favor by doing all of this stuff for her and Casey. Beyonder, who originally came into the series as this, all-powerful interdimensional being who wanted to study humanity and find out, like, what the hell is their deal. Now his goal is genuinely to be friends with Lunella. His entire purpose here in the series has changed. And the first episode of this season is absolutely the reason for this. He bonded with her through, not having his powers at the time. And because of that, he's wanting to please her. He's wanting to give her everything that he can, and he can give her everything because he genuinely wants to be friends with her. And he believes this will help. And a misunderstanding created this issue, and she snapped at him. And it was not resolved in this episode. This is going to be at least a partially ongoing plot point. Like, he left. He completely left. even though she apologized, he did not come back and he did not presumably hear it. Who knows where he went? He could have gone to another dimension for all we know. But he just pieced out because of how heartbroken he was over being treated that way, over being, basically abandoned by the one person he wanted to impress and befriend and care about him. And it's like, okay, you're just suddenly out of nowhere making me feel really sad for the Beyonder. And it's like, I did not sign up for this. I feel upset that you're doing this to me right now. It's like, listen, the Beyonder's always been a very fun, entertaining character. I enjoy seeing him on screen. Lawrence Fishburne, amazing job in the role. But then again, Lawrence Fishburne's always amazing. But then it's like, you're just going to go ahead and make him super sympathetic and make me just genuinely feel super sad for him. It's like, the thing is, it's out of nowhere, but it doesn't feel out of nowhere because the first episode did set this up. So it is well done. It feels like it's just like being thrust at me suddenly, and it's like, my heart can't take it. It's like, this show is so goddamn good. And it really bothers me that this is not getting the attention it deserves. It really bothers me that this show is not getting the love it so deserves. Like, it definitely has its fan base. I've seen people talk about this series. It absolutely has its fans. But compared to other Disney shows of recent history, even compared to Molly McGee, which also was very underrated, it's just not there. People just aren't paying as much attention to it. And I think one of the big issues is, and I think I talked about this before, but I think one of the big issues that people are thinking is it's a superhero series. They see that it's a Marvel series and they have this so-called superhero fatigue, and they don't want to watch it because of that. They don't give it a chance. They don't give it an opportunity to impress them. Because all they think about it is it's a superhero series. It's going to be just like everything else in the MCU. And it's not. It's nothing like the MCU. It's nothing like all these other superhero movies we get. This is a lot closer in its style, its tone, its storytelling and character work to something like Owl House and Amphibia. Gravity Falls, even. It is superhero focused compared to Supernatural, though some Supernatural things definitely come into play. But it's more superhero and sci-fi and everything focused. But it absolutely is very similar to those shows. Again, in terms of tone and style and just general vibes. And that's why I'm connecting with it so much, because I love those shows. Owl House, one of my favorites. Ghost of Mel McGee and Amphibia are pretty high up there too. Gravity Falls, I go back to that every so often because it's so good. It's like these are shows that are pretty universally loved. And I feel like if a lot of fans of those shows gave this one a shot, they would love it too. Of course, some wouldn't. Some would not get into this because that's just what happens. Taste in media is subjective. But a lot would like it. And I just feel like it's just not being given a chance. This honestly has the potential to be as good as Owl House, which is absolutely the best of those shows. If this really continues to nail it this hard this season, it really could reach that same level of quality. And I hope it does. I really want that. but I still feel it's just not going to get the attention it deserves, and it's really upsetting. I really hope that people start to turn around on this series, but we'll just have to see if that ends up happening at some point. For the time being, though, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur? And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.